Welcome to the Pump and Dump channel for the video. This time I'm trying to keep it short because I recorded it previously and then the sound was all messed up, and yeah, I kind of have to redo it, and I don't want to have to redo it too many times, so I'm going to try and keep it below 10 minutes. So as you can see, the transaction is already set up, selling Petrobras and PetroChina, partially some of the position, not that much, and then reinvesting these proceeds here into PBF Energy. One thing I want to point out before we get into that more is that I've already set up the dividend for PetroChina, but it's not factored into the profit and loss, and therefore it doesn't account for the overall profit and loss. You can see the other ones here with dividends have the U column included, but PetroChina does not yet. So eventually, when that comes to be paid in a week and a half or so, I'll include it into the profit and loss. And another thing to mention is that the dividends here are not reinvested. At some point I'm going to have to just put them into the cash, and then I'll have those proceeds to put into a future position. Now, getting back into PBF Energy, why is this the opportunity now? I don't think that Petrobras and PetroChina are bad or going to go down, but the opportunity in PBF is now for two circumstances I've seen happened before in other names that are not necessarily related to the industry, but they do in some way anecdotally apply. So getting into the first story, CNX Resources in Q2, in Q2 2019, when the earnings report came out, it was a similar circumstance where the stock just sold off before the earnings came out until the day before, and then when the earnings report came out and the market saw that they had done some hedging and other good things, it led to a 50% plus rise in CNX Resources' stock. So that was a good thing, and we have similar positive developments going on here with PBF Energy. One of them is the utilization rate returning hopefully to around 90% for the company as a group, not each individual refinery, but as a group, maybe 85 or 90%, whatever, it would be good. And the other thing is that since they are obviously in the current quarter making a lot of money, there is a potential that they might go ahead and announce that they are going to be repaying up to 35%, which they can, on the $725 million they borrowed last year at 9.25%. And if they do so, that would of course increase future cash flows to shareholders quite substantially, and you would get an uplift in valuation, which would given that change in projections, a big boost. So that's two things to look at that could lead this to go higher. I think the current news scare about the Delta variant or some nonsense like that is potentially weighing on the sentiment in the market. And you also have some other specific news to PBF Energy. It's one is here is comments. They commented on Bay Area Air Quality Management District decision. That's like a regulatory group that sets like standards for pollution or whatever. So they're kind of setting the standards that PBF Energy has to adhere to, and the management has commented on the stricter air quality controls, and they say they have everything in place to get as close as possible to the required standard, and just needing a little capital to maybe get to full compliance. So they kind of say by the beginning of 2022 they would be there almost, like 90 something percent probably. And then there was another piece of news a few weeks ago where one of the operating managers at I think the Calmet refinery was talking about spending like $500 million on the hydrocracker to make biodiesel. And if you take that into account, like that expense, and you assume that no benefit really comes from it, apart from maybe that they can reduce the amounts of RINs they need to buy in the market, if you just see it as an expense, it would lower the valuation of what I have currently currently for the company by like $3 or so. So that would, that would take it down to like $17 here, and the stock price, I think it went as low as 850, which would have been half off. So half off, the most bearish scenario is always a good price to buy at. So yeah, this is the way I see it. I think PBF Energy must go higher tomorrow after the earnings come out and the conference call comes and tells us hopefully some positive news. Also, one thing I can just remember now is with Safe Bulkers, there was a similar circumstance where the macro kept improving, like the dry bulk charters just kept rising, and I think that was early in the year where they were rising, and the stock, which had run from like under $1 to $3 plus, fell to like $2. Like, so it was like a 33% drop, and then from $2, I guess the market figured, that it was nonsense, and then it just rallied hard, and you can see here that we got like to like 450 or so, which is where I sold some to buy silver core metals, which didn't work out that well so far, but I think in terms of relative performance it's probably been better, but it doesn't really matter. The key point is here that there was this moment in time where Safe Bulkers was going up, and then the market was getting negative for whatever reason. It sold off to an a price that was way underappreciating the valuation, and then the market came back and just pushed it higher and higher and higher. And I do think that this could happen here. I would be hopeful that on positive news from the management that the stock could rally over the coming days and weeks to $20-$25. It'd be like an extreme move up, but it is possible. We have to always keep in mind that sometimes stocks just go crazy after an earnings report because something is reported that the market was not factoring in, and then when the market factors it in, they see that the stock is extremely undervalued. So a lot of things have to go wrong here for it to reflect the current price, and if the things that I believe are likely to happen do come to pass, then it has to go higher. So it's a win-win here. So this is kind of how I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, also one thing I wanted to show was with Petrobras here. There was a few hours ago there was a press release where it says that, well, from Reuters, they kind of say that a Brazilian judge like annulled I think it was like $3 billion or so that the company would have had to pay to some laborers at the company. And if you think about it, that if they don't have to pay this $3 billion, and you could, as a shareholder, assume that that would be added to your, to your account. So that would be $3 billion on 72 billion, which is like 4%. It's not ground shaking, but it is, it is material, it is real. And if they use that money to pay off some debt, that could also, be extremely positive in terms of evaluation for the company improving to the upside. So that is that. With PetroChina, there's nothing to say, but if you look at the chart, you can see it's up, it's a little bit down, sideways, it's up, it goes down, seems to be going sideways, and I think it will go up. With Petrobras here, I don't see any reason why it can't get back to 16, but I think, as I mentioned, the opportunity in PBF Energy is now, so that's something to keep in mind when trying to outperform the market. So yeah, I'm going to end this video here. I think I've covered everything I need to. And with that said, remember, it's not investment advice or recommendations for you to buy or not to buy. You can of course do that if you want to, but don't say he said, she said, and the upside, the target was so high and was so attractive that I did it even though I didn't believe in it. Things can always go wrong. That's something you need to keep in mind. So yeah, that's gonna conclude it, and with that said, have a good day.